Is the fear of speaking on camera holding you back from creating videos to grow your YouTube channel? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 20 pro hacks for being more confident and effective on camera. Hey, it's Mike with more tips and tutorials to help you create great video for your YouTube channel and beyond. Thank you so much for being here. You know, speaking in front of a lens and a microphone comes more naturally to some people than it does to others, but it is a skill that you can learn, and with practice, you can get pretty good at it. So I'm going to give you 20 pro tips or hacks to help you get on camera with confidence so that you can share your message with the world. All right, hack number 1, serve your audience with urgency. One of the biggest obstacles to putting yourself out there on YouTube is the fear of
judgment and criticism.
It gets in your head, you become self-conscious, and then you just give up because you're just too afraid. One of the most effective ways to get out of your own head is to help others. And that's where you have to come from when you're delivering on camera, from a place of service. So instead of thinking of yourself as a YouTube star or host or celebrity, you're just a messenger with important information that you need to share with the audience. So when you come at it from a position of service, it helps you get out of your own head and concentrate on delivering your message. Tip number 2, talk your script, don't write it. Most people, when they are writing their content that they're going to deliver on camera, they start on paper or on screen and they write down what they want to say. Problem is that when you're doing that, you're writing primarily for the eye, a different discipline than writing for the ear. And so what ends up happening is you're writing these complicated sentence structures and you're putting in these gotcha tongue twister words. And then when you go to deliver it on camera, you are tripped up by these sentence constructions and you trip over the words. So it's a better approach to actually talk out your script first and then write it down. Basically, you're transcribing yourself. And then once you've gone through it, you can go back to the screen or to the page to rearrange the content so it maybe makes more sense. This approach has a number of advantages. One of the biggest ones is your on-camera sounds more natural and it's a lot easier to remember what you're saying. All right, tip number 3, reduce your script to talking points. Don't try to read from a finished script on camera unless it's on a teleprompter right in front of you, because what ends up happening is when you refer to the script, you'll get lost in the words and then you'll lose your train of thought. Better to take your script, reduce it to its main points, and then just lift those points off the page or the screen and deliver the information. Tip number 4, rehearse, but don't overdo it. Yes, it's important to be prepared and to rehearse what you're going to say before you record, but don't over-rehearse. I had a mentor back in my broadcasting days who told me not to over-rehearse. He said, don't leave your game in the locker room. You want to save energy and spontaneity for the actual recording. Tip number 5, try to look your best. Now, I'm not saying to wear a suit or a ball gown or something like that, but look presentable for your audience so that that's one less thing that you have to think about, one less thing to make you self-conscious while you're trying to be on camera delivering your information. Tip number 6, avoid consuming dairy products right before recording you're on camera. Dairy produces a lot of phlegm, which can interfere with your voice and your breathing, so you'll end up doing a lot of during your recording. Instead of consuming dairy products, drink some tea before you record. It's great for the voice. Tip number 7, warm up. Professional athletes, professional musicians, they warm up before performing. Your body, your voice is an instrument, so you should warm it up before you need to use it. A great breathing warm-up is a hissing exercise. You basically take in a deep breath and then you hiss it out until you push all the air out. It's a great way to sort of condition your breathing so you can support your voice, and it'll also help you control your breath while you're speaking. A great vocal warm-up is to read out loud really fast. So find a blog post or a news article and then read it out loud really fast. But the key is to articulate every word or over-enunciate every word as you do it. That'll really warm up the vocal apparatus. Tip number 8, good posture. You know, your posture affects the way you're perceived on camera by your audience, but your posture also affects your breathing. Good posture supports a strong breath, which helps you be more confident and project more authority on camera. Tip number 9, up your energy. Some of the energy in your delivery gets lost somewhere in the camera. So to compensate for that and keep your audience engaged, you need to up the energy of your delivery above how you would normally speak. Tip number 10, attack the start. The beginning of your on-camera is the most important part. It's where you grab the viewer's attention so that you can have a conversation and share the information with them.
Don't just casually saunter in to the content off of the beginning.
Grab their attention from the start. Tip number 11, be enthusiastic, but not over the top. Have some passion, some enthusiasm for what you're talking about. If you don't care about what you're saying, then why should the viewer? Being enthusiastic about what you're saying is a great way to grab the viewer's attention and keep it. Tip number 12, pick up the pace, not the speed. You know, many people, when they think that the delivery is low energy or slow, will talk faster thinking that'll be better, that they'll get the viewer's attention that way. But what ends up happening is the words start to get lost and you become difficult to understand. What you want to be doing is picking up the pace. What's the difference? Picking up the pace is about closing the gaps between words and sentences. Tip number 13, don't forget to breathe. Tip number 14, smile on the inside. If you smile on the inside, it'll actually read on your face in an ever so subtle way and make you more engaging and more attractive to the viewer. Tip number 15, emphasize the important words and phrases. If you talk in a monotone during your on-camera, it's not only boring, it's difficult to understand what's important, what I should pay attention to as a viewer. If you give energy or punch important words and phrases, it actually makes your content easier to understand. It also makes your on-camera more interesting to watch and listen to. Tip number 16, don't focus on the lens of the camera. Now, this is a little trick that may or may not work for you, but try directing your gaze at the lens, but not focusing on it. Because what can happen is if you focus on the lens, you'll start noticing the little flares and details in there, and you'll become a deer in the headlights. You'll get lost in the void, as we like to say, and you'll lose your train of thought. I know it's a strange little tip. Direct my gaze at the lens, but don't focus on the lens. It's worked for me for 30 years. Tip number 17, don't stare into the camera. Some people think that staring into the camera the whole time that they're delivering their information is a great way to keep the viewer engaged. But when you stare at someone like this for an extended period of time, it might trigger the fight or flight response, in which case your viewer will become distracted wondering what's wrong with you. It's okay to look off once in a while you're doing your on-camera. It's what we do naturally when we're having a conversation. We look off to gather our thoughts and then we come back. So you can do the same thing in your on-camera. Look off to find your thoughts and come back to the lens. It actually makes your on-camera more dynamic and feel more authentic instead of rehearsed. Tip number 18, it's okay to move. It's okay to move your body and gesture as you speak. It's what we do naturally during a conversation. It's very human. Just don't gesture too much, like jabbing your hand toward the lens, especially a wide-angle lens, because it really just exaggerates the movement and can distract the viewer. Likewise, try not to bounce too much or shuffle around too much. It's very distracting. It makes the viewer think that perhaps you're in some kind of distress or getting ready to pounce or throw a jab. Just center yourself, anchor yourself, and just let the gestures come naturally. Tip number 19. Don't freak out over stumbles. It's okay to stumble once in a while you're doing your on-camera. It's perfectly natural and makes it feel more authentic and human. Now, if you totally go off the rails, then just stop, take a deep breath, and try it again. And remember, you can always edit it out later. And finally, tip or hack number 20. Review your on-cameras and revise your technique. The key to getting confident, comfortable, and effective on camera is practice, practice, practice. So watch your on-cameras back and then look at what you like and what you don't like, what worked and what didn't work, and how you're coming across. And then try it again, record it again, and revise your technique. It's going to take you a bit of time to get used to and comfortable with your on-camera self, and that comes through practice. But being confident and effective on camera depends a lot on your content. So if you want to learn how to create great content for your YouTube channel or other video endeavors, have a look at these videos on my channel. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you're notified as soon as I post my next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.